what is the purpose of forming a government? Why do we form a government according to the Declaration of Independence? The floor is yours, Gary.
Great question. All right, I'm going to answer it this way, all right? So I'm going to first slightly disappoint you with my answer, but then I'm going to give you some rationale behind it, all right? So let me say this. I made a decision a long time back when I started my presidential campaign, probably even a little bit before that during my previous campaigns. I said I'm not going to answer questions. By the way, I support the Constitution. I love the Constitution, Declaration of Independence. But I said to myself, I'm not going to talk about specificities. I'm going to answer your question, but not in the way you want me to answer the question probably. But I'll say this. I made a decision a long time back that I'm not going to answer specific questions about the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights. I'm not going to talk a lot about American history or world history or anything like that to a large extent. I would even probably say I would not talk about the Bible to a large extent. By the way, I'll be very honest about this. I have not read the entire Bible. I love Jesus Christ. I believe in Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, and that's what makes you Christian. I would love to read the Bible at some time, at some point in time, but I've not read the entire Bible. I'm very honest about this. So I have decided not to talk about this in an elaborated way, and I'll give you the rationale for it as well, all right? The rationale is very simple. Look, I am not expected as a presidential candidate. I'm not expected to know everything about everything. That's not possible. Only Jesus Christ knows that. And so I cannot open myself up to questions that are specifics, like the specific you talked about the Constitution, Bill of Rights, American history, world history, whatever it is. If I open myself up to those questions, what happens is the Democrat interview, or however you want to say it, right? An interview that does not support Trump or Gary Barve or MAGA, that interviewer could spin their questioning and paint me into a corner, or sort of not paint me into a corner, but sort of corner me a little bit in that interview in an area that I do not want to go on. And I'm a smart guy. Look, let me say this. America needs not just a cool president, but also a smart president. And I know how to answer questions. I know how to come across as a guy who, knows when to say, I will not answer this particular question, right? And so I will not answer the question in the way you want me to answer it. But let me say this. You talked about government, right? Let me say this. I believe in limited government. I believe in limited government. I believe the power should not reside with the politician. The power should not reside with the bureaucrat. The power should not reside with the elected official. The power does not reside with the elected official. The power does not really reside with the bureaucrat. The power does not really reside with the politician. The power resides with you, our great American people.